Have you ever noticed how some people seem to carry the weight of the entire room on their shoulders? You walk into a space, and before anyone says a word, you already know something's wrong. Your friend smiles and says they're fine, but you feel the lie like a physical ache in your chest. A stranger on the subway looks down at their phone, and somehow you absorb their sadness like it's your own. There's something strange about living this way. While others move through the world with a kind of emotional armor, you're walking around with every nerve exposed. A minor criticism feels like a knife wound. A beautiful sunset can bring you to tears. A sad song doesn't just make you feel something, it makes you feel everything. Most people will tell you you're too sensitive, that you need thicker skin, that you should toughen up, let things roll off your back, stop taking everything so personally. But here's the thing. What if the problem isn't that you feel too much? What if the real question is, why does feeling deeply get labeled as a flaw in the first place? You've probably heard the term empath thrown around. Maybe you've even been called one. But let's go deeper than the Instagram infographics and the self-help buzzwords. The psychology behind this runs deeper than most people realize. There's a phenomenon psychologists call emotional contagion. It's hardwired into your brain through mirror neurons. These specialized cells fire both when you perform an action and when you watch someone else perform that same action. It's why you wince when you see someone stub their toe, why you tear up during movie scenes that don't even happen to real people. But here's what's fascinating. Not everyone's mirror neuron system fires at the same intensity. For some people, it's a gentle whisper. For you, it's a roaring flood. You don't just notice emotions, you absorb them. You don't just understand pain, you live it. And the exhausting part? You can't turn it off. You can't unplug from the emotional frequency you're constantly tuned into. Think about the last time you were in a group setting. Everyone's talking, laughing, seemingly having a good time. But you noticed the person in the corner who was smiling just a little too hard, the one whose laugh didn't quite reach their eyes. And while everyone else carried on oblivious, you carried that person's hidden sadness home with you. You replay the interaction, wonder if you should have said something, feel guilty that you didn't, feel guilty that you even noticed, feel guilty for feeling guilty. And this is where it gets complex, because society teaches us that emotions should be manageable, containable, reasonable. We live in a culture that values stoicism, that celebrates keeping your cool, that rewards people who can compartmentalize their feelings like files in a cabinet. But you're not built that way. Your feelings don't fit into neat compartments. They spill over, they bleed into each other, they demand to be felt in their entirety. Here's the truth that nobody talks about. Feeling everything deeply doesn't just mean you feel the good things more intensely. It means you feel everything more intensely. Joy isn't just happiness, it's euphoria that makes your whole body vibrate with aliveness. But sadness isn't just sadness. It's a grief so profound it feels like drowning. Anger isn't just frustration. It's a volcanic rage that terrifies you with its intensity. Love isn't just affection, it's a cosmic connection that feels both like coming home and like free falling through space. And maybe the hardest part? You feel other people's emotions with the same intensity. Research in attachment theory shows us something fascinating. The people who feel most deeply often develop this sensitivity as children. Maybe you grew up in a home where you had to read the emotional temperature of every room to feel safe. Maybe you learned to attune yourself to a parent's mood before they even walked through the door. Maybe your survival depended on being emotionally perceptive. So you became fluent in a language most people never learn to speak. You learned to read micro-expressions, to sense energy shifts, to feel the things people were desperately trying to hide. And that skill that once protected you, it became your default setting. But here's what's really happening. You're not just feeling your own emotions. You're processing everyone else's too. You're carrying grief that isn't yours, anxiety that doesn't belong to you, joy and pain and fear and hope from people you barely know. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between your feelings and theirs. It all gets processed through the same overwhelmed circuit board. Think about what that means for a moment. You're essentially living multiple emotional lives simultaneously. While most people are managing their own internal weather system, you're managing yours plus everyone else's in your proximity. No wonder you're exhausted. No wonder you need so much alone time to recover. No wonder social situations drain you in ways other people don't seem to understand. Here's where it gets interesting though, because this trait that makes you feel broken, it also makes you extraordinary. The same sensitivity that leaves you emotionally raw also gives you access to depths of human experience that most people will never touch. You understand people in ways they don't even understand themselves. You see beauty that others walk right past. You create connections that transcend surface-level pleasantries. Think about the people in your life who come to you when they're struggling. They might not consciously know why, but on some level, they recognize that you get it, that you won't just hear their words, you'll feel their truth. You're the person who notices when someone's smile is a mask, who asks, "Are you okay?" when everyone else accepts the polite, "I'm fine," who sits with people in their darkness instead of trying to rush them toward the light. But the truth is, this gift comes with a cost, and nobody prepares you for how high that cost can be. You've probably developed strategies to cope. Maybe you withdraw. Maybe you build walls. Maybe you numb yourself with distractions because feeling everything all the time is simply unsustainable. And this is where the real tragedy happens. Because when you start shutting down your sensitivity to protect yourself from the overwhelm, you don't just shut out the pain, you shut out everything. The joy becomes muted. The beauty becomes gray. The connections become shallow. It's like turning down the volume on your entire existence because certain frequencies were too loud to bear. Psychologists call this emotional blunting, and it's one of the most common coping mechanisms for people who feel too deeply. You're not trying to feel less, you're just trying to survive. But here's what's fascinating. Even when you try to numb yourself, the sensitivity doesn't actually go away. It just goes underground. You still feel everything. You're just not allowing yourself to consciously acknowledge it. So the emotions start showing up in other ways. Physical tension, chronic fatigue, unexplained anxiety, psychosomatic symptoms that doctors can't quite diagnose. Your body is still processing all that emotional information. It's just doing it in the shadows.
And maybe that's the real cruelty of it all. You can't win. Feel everything and get overwhelmed. Shut down and lose yourself. There's no middle ground that anyone taught you how to find. So you ping-pong between extremes, wide open and completely closed, all or nothing, drowning or numb. People who don't feel this way will never fully understand. They'll tell you you're overthinking, that you're making things more complicated than they need to be, that you should just not let it affect you so much. As if you have a choice? As if you woke up one day and decided, you know what? I think I'll make my emotional experience exponentially more intense and exhausting than necessary. Here's the truth. You're not choosing this any more than someone with perfect pitch chooses to hear every note with crystal clarity. It's not a decision, it's how you're wired. And the people who tell you to toughen up, they're not cruel, they're just speaking a language they understand. They're trying to help with advice that would work for them but doesn't translate to your experience. It's like someone who's never experienced chronic pain telling someone with fibromyalgia to just push through it. The advice isn't malicious, it's just fundamentally incompatible with the reality being lived. But here's what nobody tells you. Your sensitivity isn't a bug in your programming. It's not something that needs to be fixed or overcome or trained out of you. It's a different way of processing reality. Not better, not worse, just different. And the exhaustion you feel? It's not weakness. It's the natural consequence of running emotional marathons every single day, while everyone else thinks you're just taking a casual walk. So what do you do with this? How do you live in a world that feels like too much, all the time, without destroying yourself in the process? Here's where we have to reframe everything. First, stop trying to feel less. That's a losing battle. Your sensitivity is not volume knob that you can simply turn down. It's more like a radio that's permanently tuned to a frequency most people can't access. The goal isn't to change the station, it's to learn how to be the DJ instead of the static. What does that mean practically? It means recognizing that other people's emotions are not your responsibility to fix. You can feel them, you can acknowledge them, you can offer compassion, but you don't have to carry them. There's a difference between empathy and absorption. Empathy says, I understand your pain. Absorption says, your pain is now my pain. And this is where it gets really important. You need to learn the difference between feeling with someone and feeling for them. Feeling with someone is connection. Feeling for someone is drowning while trying to save someone who isn't asking to be saved.
Second, your need for alone time isn't antisocial, it's essential maintenance. You're not being difficult when you cancel plans. You're not being dramatic when you need space. You're engaging in necessary self-preservation. Think of it this way. If your phone was constantly running 50 apps simultaneously, you'd expect the battery to drain quickly, right? You wouldn't call the phone defective for needing to recharge. You're running 50 emotional apps all the time. Of course you need to recharge. Give yourself permission to protect your energy without guilt. People who don't understand this aren't bad people. They're just working with different hardware. Third, create boundaries like your life depends on it. Because in a very real sense, it does. This doesn't mean building walls. It means installing doors. Doors that you can open and close intentionally. Doors that let you choose what you let in and what you keep out. You can care about someone without absorbing their entire emotional experience. You can be present without being porous. You can offer support without offering yourself as a human emotional sponge. But here's what I really want you to understand. The world needs people like you. I know that feels hard to believe when you're exhausted and overwhelmed and wondering why you can't just be normal like everyone else. But think about what would be lost if everyone operated at surface level. If nobody could feel the undercurrents. If nobody could sense the unsaid things. If nobody could hold space for complex, messy, uncomfortable emotions. The world would be emotionally illiterate. It would be a place where suffering happened in isolation because nobody could feel it deeply enough to care. Where beauty went unnoticed because nobody was sensitive enough to be stopped in their tracks by it. Where human connection stayed shallow because nobody could dive beneath the polite performances we all put on. You are the ones who remind the rest of us what it means to be fully human. Not the sanitized, controlled, socially acceptable version of human, the raw, real, feeling version. The version that hurts and hopes and breaks and heals and feels it all without apology. Yes, it's exhausting. Yes, it's overwhelming. Yes, there are days when you'd give anything to just feel less. But you're also the person who experiences beauty so intensely it brings you to tears, who loves so deeply it transforms people, who creates art and meaning and connection that comes from touching depths most people don't even know exist. Your sensitivity isn't the problem. The problem is that we live in a world that doesn't know how to honor it, that mistakes depth for dysfunction, that treats feeling as a weakness instead of recognizing it as a profound form of courage. Because make no mistake, continuing to feel everything in a world that constantly tells you not to, that takes more strength than you realize.
So here's what I want you to know. You're not too sensitive, you're not too emotional, you're not too much. You're exactly the right amount of you, even when it feels like too much to bear. The intensity you feel, it's not a flaw in your design, it's your design. And yes, it's harder to live this way. Yes, you'll always need more time to recover. Yes, you'll always feel things other people seem to glide right past. But you'll also experience moments of transcendent beauty that make the pain worth it. You'll forge connections that feed your soul in ways surface-level interactions never could. You'll understand yourself and others with a depth that's increasingly rare in our distracted, disconnected world. The people who feel everything too deeply aren't the ones who are broken. They're the ones who are brave enough to stay open in a world that's constantly trying to close them down. And maybe, just maybe, that's not something to fix. Maybe that's something to honor. You are not too much. You never were. And the world is better because you feel it all so deeply, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because that's when feeling deeply matters most.